I had somebody come to the door with the delivery for my husband. We have a secret squirrel project of which will not be talked about until it's done. Anyway, and they were delivering some things for it. Anyway, so Book of Boba Fett beat out Mandalorian finale season 2. First off, that basically says that Jon Favreau is on the right track, even if the show, and we all know it, was mediocre, because it was. I mean, come on, we got to be honest. There's something here that I've got to talk about, and it's the responsibility that we have as YouTubers to our subscribers, okay? When this happens, when there's something that goes contrary against your narrative, you've got to come up and say, all right, it's this happened. We were wrong. We should have talked about this. And there you go. I'm shocked. I didn't expect this. But for those of us who want to see Star Wars fixed, this helps Jon Favreau's case. Okay? This is something the denizens of the Kennedy Club in the story group didn't want to see. Okay, this makes them look bad, and we have to talk about it. This is big. Okay, it's very interesting to me. But again, like I said in part one of this, there were two. But I had to answer the door, and I had to sign for the package. So that we got. Harrison Ford was supposed to be in it. I hate to tell all the Luke fans this, all right? But when you're talking to a normie and you're talking about Star Wars, they don't talk about Luke Skywalker. The normies don't. Talk about Han Solo and Darth Vader. Vader literally being the face of Star Wars from, the OT and the sequels. Okay. And Harrison Ford. Let's go back in our Wayback Machine. I mean, way back machine. Before a lot of you were born, by the way. 1977, when Star Wars came out, Mark Hamill was feted and people thought he did a great job, and he did. Harrison Ford was the one that got noticed by the big studios. He got, roles, Hanover Street, Force 10 from Navarone. There was another one, there's another World War II movie. Hanover Street. And I think before or after The Empire Strikes Back came out, which set him as a movie star. In fact, I think Star Wars itself, the first movie, made it apparent Hollywood had been missing a gem for over a decade, because he'd been there since his early 20s as a contract player, which that was still a thing back when he first started acting. And he just wasn't getting the traction I think he deserved. He kind of connected with the Coppola Mafia, which was made up of Spielberg and Lucas, got a job, American Graffiti. He was in The Conversation, Francis Ford Coppola movie, but he never quite hit the sweet spot until Star Wars. If you want to go through his credits and go, he was in Apocalypse Now, and that was filmed after Star Wars. He is in episodes of Gunsmoke. I think he's in at least one episode of Kung Fu, Love American Style. I gotta tell you, I was a little kid. That show, I can't remember what the run was, but I think it was still on regular TV doing its run when I was aware of it. And then my sisters would watch it on reruns. And that, I was like, even as a kid, you know, didn't understand it, didn't like it. He was in that. Okay. So he wasn't making the waves like he should have. Get Star Wars. It is a role fit for a movie star. Han Solo is larger than life. This is a character that struck, I think, to the core of the movie audience that grew up with John Wayne, was watching Clint Eastwood. Okay, that's Han Solo. That's the character. All right. The Searchers, Rio Bravo, The Man with No Name. Okay. And it just hit. He hit the sweet spot, and he was the one that everyone said, he is a movie star. Go and therefore bless the world with your presence. He is a presence and has been relevant in Hollywood for decades. All right. He is probably one of the most powerful names in Hollywood. Okay. There's a reason why I think Indiana Jones is being completely reshot. Because he got pissed off. Okay? It's his movie, not Kathy's. No matter what Kathy thinks, that is his movie. Okay? And when we saw that entrance, and I think the Han Solo entrance was probably one of the greatest character introductions in film history. It's such a Western sort of Slick. I mean, his nickname was Slick in the EU when he was a pilot, fighter pilot. And it was brought over to his smuggling days. Such a slick, sort of easy, kind of lanky, long, lean, cool drink of water thing. You know, mysterious. Indy 5 is not being soilified. Okay, I've talked about this before. I am done talking about it. They are reshooting the entire thing because they were trying to. Okay? I mean, has anybody not listened to what a word I said? Do I have to go back and redo this? Okay, fine. Ruining my mojo here, bringing up something that probably some other YouTuber who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about said. Okay, here. Harrison Ford gets hurt right away. Stops filming. Week after he's hurt, he's walking around with his arm in a sling. 2 weeks later, he's riding around on a bicycle on those cobblestone Mayfair streets. He slow rolled it. Okay. He basically, yeah, it is. It's being diesel. It's basically, you know, and the person who put the rumor out there in the Daily Mail was him. I know it was him. All right. Now they're not. They're supposed to be done. They were supposed to wrap in October. They're going to wrap now at the end of this month, we think. Okay. Kathy Kennedy, it appears, is in Florida. All right. Guess who else is in Florida? The High Republic authors. Where are they doing a reunion? I'm sorry to see you go, Kathy. You know, who knows what that's about? Anyway, at least I think they're in Florida. Anyway, let's go back to what I was talking about. So, this guy's been in the public conscience for decades. He's been a dinner conversation for decades. Okay. People saw, and despite hey Xenophet, what people think, Han Solo is the character he's most connected to in the public conscience. And I think lately he's probably had a come to Jesus moment with that character, because, you know, if he didn't want to be part of Star Wars, he could pull a Natalie Portman and not have gone to the 40th anniversary. I mean, the fact that he showed up at that in 2017, I had people there who were shocked seeing him. They were like blown off their feet. They couldn't freaking believe it. There he is. It's like, he doesn't hate the character, okay? Part of the reason why it didn't feel like Han had anything to do is because Lando was there. And I think Lando pulled a lot of what they could have done with Han away from Han in Return of the Jedi. Okay? I really think that is part of the reason. And it's not his fault. Larry Kasdan likes to kill people off because he thinks he's God. And to be honest, without George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, Larry Kasdan couldn't write out a complete coherent sentence. Okay? He really couldn't without ruining the story somehow. Okay? No one wants to see a lead character like Han Solo get killed. No one. Right? It's just, it defies logic. But there's Larry. We should kill him off. And we should do it this way. No logic behind it. No rationality. There you go. Okay. And I think that's the reason that's part of the reason why. And also another reason why is I think there were personal things going on in this issue with Han that wasn't about Han. Something else was going on. Okay? And she was that big and she carried a whole can of whoop ass with her. Okay, let's just put it that way. So when people heard the rumor he was going to be in this, they decided they wanted to sit and watch it. And Samba TV does, what they do is they do a 5-day, basically, they look at the ratings, the ratings, we'll call it, for 5 days. 36% higher than episode 16. Okay. Favreau, despite the mediocre and rushed feel of the show, despite, I'm sorry to say this, Robert Rodriguez kind of going off and doing his own thing, Favreau did a hell of a job. Okay? He did a hell of a job. Partially it's because the Mandalorian stuff probably saved it, and Luke showing up saved it. But it just, there's something to it, and you guys aren't going to get that from this side, and this YouTube channel, and this YouTube channel, and this YouTube channel, and this YouTube channel. What they're going to say is, no matter what, Star Wars is dead. And everyone's going, more people watch this than they watch Luke. Yeah, and I think he was the one that did it. Look, that guy gets a lot of shit for, he's an old hippie. Okay, he met Melissa Matheson in Saskatchewan. All right, I personally know of at least one hippie commune up there that my brother used to live on. My oldest brother. Okay, so I'm like, did she hang out there too? Were you all hanging out together? Okay, I need some information here. It's very interesting to me, that little thing. So he's an old hippie. He likes to smoke weed. Is very mellow. He's a very cool-headed guy, which is why he's a good pilot. When you hear about like the plane that he had to take down, this is one of my favorite stories because this is how good of a pilot he is. He had a T6 Texan, which is a very old trainer for the military. All right, World War II before era. The thing lost oil pressure. Instead of dropping it on a highway, dropping it on a playground, in a crowd of people, the only place he could put it down on was a golf course. Okay. And he just, it looked like, I mean, that poor plane was a total wreck. And let me tell you, that was a vintage, that was a piece of history. So he was probably more upset with the plane being destroyed than his leg being broken. But that's just him. He made another mistake, and, that's kind of like, okay, but, that landing that plane, that old plane, where he did, well, it says a lot about the guy. He's just a cool customer. And he gets underestimated a lot because, of the fact he's an old hippie. Okay, I know old hippies. My oldest brother was an old hippie. He was also one of the most intelligent, wise people I've ever known in my life. Okay, so, take that for what it's worth. But yeah, so I think that he probably was the one that decided we're not going to do this and took the opportunity to slow roll the shooting for Indy 5. Okay. But the reason why that the show probably got the views it got is that people thought he was going to be in it. Now, I'm extremely happy he wasn't in it because, granted, a lot of people saw the show, but it wasn't good enough for the character, and it wasn't good enough for him. Okay, it was mediocre, average-ish. Okay, but it wasn't woke. Boba Fett wasn't gay. We didn't have a trans Fennec Shand. We didn't have any anti-white racism going on. It had a pretty diverse cast, but really you didn't feel like you're getting, your balls busted for being white and feeling guilty about it. Okay. You know, the farmer that got his ass kicked by the Niktos. White man. Okay. And you could tell when you're watching it, that there was stuff going on in the background. And it's now obvious to me. I mean, you can, if you're a big channel, and we know, you think about who I'm talking about, ignoring the K's written on that farmer's house, you can ignore that, but it's there. It's graffiti. Okay? And it wasn't, it's not, look, they could have used any letter in the Huttese alphabet they wanted. There's several. They used the K's for a reason. Okay? Do not try to convince me otherwise. All right? So, so we've got that going. And I want you guys to understand that you're not going to hear that. I mean, Polly Latino Slant talked about it. Kim and Tom Conkle and Cameron are going to talk about it today. Okay, they're going to talk about it later this afternoon or tomorrow. Can't remember. That this show actually had a wider viewing audience than episode 16. And you're not going to hear it. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't fit their agenda. It doesn't fit the narrative. The fandom is falling for a big lie. And they're liars. They might not actually think they're liars. They might actually think because they don't see any proof. I'm sure that if someone actually wrote it in crayon for them, they might understand it. Maybe I don't know how many of you guys remember the Dick and Jane readers from like way back in the 50s. I mean, we had those in the house, and I remember seeing them as a kid, My mom had a whole pile of them, and my brothers and sisters learned to read from them. And I did too, but they were like 50s and 60s textbooks. See Spot run. See Dick run. See Dick and Jane run. I mean, that's what it was. Maybe if it was explained in that vernacular to some of these people, they would get it. But they're not going to tell you the truth. Okay, again, like I said before, them not talking about this is exactly the same as CNN and MSNBC either ignoring the fact that the Clintons spied on the Obama administration and the Trump campaign and administration, or outright saying it didn't happen. Okay, this is what we're seeing because it doesn't fit the agenda. It doesn't fit the narrative. Okay, I'm doing what Andrew Breitbart would do, and I'm calling him out. You owe your viewers an honest assessment of what's going on. Okay, a lot of people spend a lot of money on this. Okay, and they're not getting their buck's worth, and that's wrong. Okay, again, I don't make any money on this, but because you guys spend your time, and to me, time is worth more than money ever could be. Watching me just blather on like an idiot, I gotta do what I gotta do right by you, okay? And I gotta give you every bit of information as it comes in, all right? You know, first off, the chances of the Nictos, the chances of the two Ks on that Homesteaders farmhouse not being about Kathleen Kennedy are about 0. Okay, all right, again, why would they choose Ks? I mean, just, you know, the fact that we've got a lot of like this hemorrhoid flare up of bullshit from AT-AT chats and the rest of the shills from Baver and Screen Rant. There's something going on. They're worried about something, and they're worried that maybe they're just worried that Doomcock is right. You know, maybe they're worried I'm right. Maybe they're worried Cameron's right. I mean, here's the deal. Pablo Hidalgo didn't attack me and get me banned several times, and I know he did it. I mean, you can sit there and say I'm being paranoid, but come on, all right? Because he wasn't afraid of me. You don't silence people you're not afraid of. You silence people you're afraid of. Okay? All right. All right. That's why they went after Cameron. They're afraid of him. Why? Because he was telling them the truth. Okay? I was telling them the truth. I was telling them this shit doesn't sell. You guys suck. You're not creative. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They're afraid. Okay? Now we got a rumor somewhere, someplace, that maybe Jon Favreau actually wants to take over Star Wars and Lucasfilm. Let me explain something. That video of Jon Favreau talking with Harrison Ford says a lot to me. First off, they like each other. They trust each other. Favreau has a huge amount of respect for Harrison Ford, and Ford has a huge amount of respect for him. To have someone like Jon Favreau in charge would be an improvement of vast proportions, okay? You know, Steven Spielberg's politics haven't changed since 1968. He's still a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? But he made movies everybody liked, okay? It doesn't matter what your politics are. Put them aside and do good stuff. When you've got Pablo Hidalgo removing and rationalizing why he removed it, his employment at Lucasfilm, but he left his ideology, BLM, Antifa. that says where his heart is, and it's not doing right by the franchise. Okay, other people at Lucasfilm, they don't do that. His wife, she removed her employment. She removed the pinned tweet about Lucasfilm's trivia contest. All right, so why? These are legitimate questions, and I'm sorry. Saying, well, I just changed my Twitter bio, blah, 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 isn't answering the question and isn't answering the rumors. It's ignoring them. It's literally trying to dodge a bullet. I'm sorry, but Pablo isn't Nemo from The Matrix. Okay, he's not. No one is. I mean, that's fake ass shit. But yeah, okay, so, and we've got, again, I'm going to talk a little bit about that book, The Scoundrel and the Princess, or The Princess and the Scoundrel, you know what it is? You go over, I think it was Eckhart's Ladder. It is an advertisement for the Galactic Cruiser. All right. I'll give you the premise. Do you know what happens? The celebration's going on. We beat the Empire. La la la. Han asks Leia to marry him. They get married on Endor. Like, boom. 2 minutes after the Death Star blows up, they're slapping rings on each other's hands. Like 16-year-old kids, like Romeo and Juliet. It's like, this is not a good story, okay? Then they go on the Galactic Cruiser on their honeymoon. Because the Falcon is just not worthy. Like, Han does a complete 180 from, he's gotten over all of his issues with and PTSD from the carbonite and the torture. Okay. Leia has had a come to Jesus moment about who she really is. In 5 fucking minutes. And what's funny is it's trying desperately to replace the courtship of Princess Leia. If I remember, Troy, I think there's a comic book. There's actually an officiant, a human male officiant. Okay, so it's like, is this even legal? I mean, this is what I find hilarious. And I just want to stare at the story group and Pablo and go, I really don't give a shit what Disney had to say, but we've still got the Empire out there. Oh, I know, that's another question. We still have got issues going on, and you're gonna take, oh, me too, and I didn't even really like that book, Qui-Gon. You're gonna take a hardened general of shock troops and a leader of the Rebel Alliance, now soon to be the New Republic, one of its main focal points of leadership, and just have them completely just go off the grid, because them getting married is more important than finishing what they started. I mean, geez, even in the courtship of Princess Leia and Tatooine Ghost, the Empire was still there. Tatooine Ghost basically leads into Heir to the Empire. Okay? I mean, we don't have any resolution for Leia kind of getting used to the fact that she is the daughter of Anakin Skywalker. We don't have, I'm sure we're not going to hear her. I mean, this is going to be fucking nonsense. It's nothing but an advertisement for the stupid fucking cruiser. And Eckhart's Ladder is like I can't even believe they did this. And I agree with him. I watched this going, you've got to be shitting me. It is so transparent. Okay, it is transparent. It is not a story. All right? What a dumpster fire fucking book. Okay, using these iconic characters to sell a hotel nobody can afford. I mean, but here we are. All right. I predict this thing will crash and burn through the molten through the crust of the earth and land in the hot magma pools of the center of the earth. Okay. This is a bad idea. It was a stupid idea, written by a woman who I looked at her and I go, I can't believe you're married. I can't believe there's a man out there that, I mean, yes, I'm going to fat shame. Why? Because we have an epidemic. All right. Fatty liver disease, diabetes, heart disease, cancers. And where does it all come from? Obesity. This chick is morbidly obese. She looks like a hut. You know, and it's like, and I'm going to say that. I don't care. I mean, I take everything into consideration. All right. This is just a stupid, 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 stupid thing to do. Yet here we are. Okay? And I'm literally, I looked at this. I thought about it. I looked at this. I thought about it. And I was like, no, this is not going to go well. This is not going to bode well. This is shit. This is literally a great big pile of crap. Okay? And it is so blatant. Okay? It is so, it's bad marketing. But again, it's Story Group. It's probably Iger's Disney saying, well, we need to have, some of the OT characters connected to the cruiser, even though none of them show up. And if you put Han and Leia in this situation, and of course you go to the cruiser and you have, Daddy Butcher show up. No one wants to see this. No one wants this. Okay? I don't, you don't, those guys out there, my dog doesn't. Okay? In fact, he's a sweet guy, but if he ever saw Kyle Ron show up, he'd probably try to eat him. I just, no. Anyway, but this is stuff. Yeah, well, look, I mean, Maze, when you look at their idea of canon, that's what they did. It's in the comics. I've seen pictures of it. All right? I've seen pictures. It's like, comic book, things of it. And it's like, why? It degrades the story. Han and Leia lose their adulthood and become little teenage kids. Okay, if you see, here's the deal. It's a rule of thumb. This is my dad always said. You see people getting married in a rush, it's not gonna work. All right, it just doesn't work. The thing about the EU, at least there was adults writing this. Okay, I've said this before, I'll say this again. Leia had just found out Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, was daddy. Luke was her brother, okay? Not exactly things that a young woman getting ready for her nuptials wants to have to deal with. Okay, Han, is probably, even though we never get a real chance to hear about it, is probably suffering after effects of the carbonite. Nightmares, PTSD. There was a great fanfic written by someone who's kind of a bitch, Corellian Blue. But she's kind of a bitch. I mean, to be honest, I've had conversations with her, and it's like, I actually probably could do a better job than her. But she basically went through PTSD, including grayouts, which is the person suffering from PTSD doesn't know where they are and reacts badly towards people they know because they don't recognize them for a minute or two. And that happens to Han. And I really think it works, that idea, maybe not the way she presents it, but that idea would probably work well with this. It would take time. Sure, he wants to marry her. Does she want to marry him? There's a lot of insecurity about that on his part. Will her level of people accept him? All right? What they've done with him is they've made him not to be who he should have been. Okay? When you have Solo in the EU, he's a guy that was actually making a mark as an Imperial fighter pilot before he saved Chewbacca and got court-martialed and kicked out. Okay, but he was making his mark. He had come from nothing. But when I think of what that means in the Empire, I think of Anakin Skywalker. I think of the Emperor seeing Anakin, this slave boy who was basically created by the Force itself, and thinking I could use him. Same thing with Han. All right, he made himself. He was a self-made guy. Okay, he grew up without any parents, but he was beyond that, and even in the era he grew up in, was able for a time to climb the ladder of success. No family, no name, just merit. And that says a lot. They've taken that away from him. Okay? Far be it from me to bring up Solo, a Soy Wars story. Okay? These people, even the people that like that fucking piece of shit movie, don't understand what they're missing and what they've left out. But even then, Leia, people, the Alderaanian Council, you've got the Command Council, they probably wouldn't look at this saying, I don't really think that this is going to be a good idea for her. She's got people who want to use her for a political pawn. She's got people who, look at Han as being far beneath her. Okay? And in reality, he wasn't. When you look at the way they wrote him in the OT, he wasn't. Yeah, they are. Mazuros is right. I mean, all of it. And they deliberately dumbed him down so people wouldn't look at him in the same way. They deconstructed that part of him. And first off, they're not talented enough to actually write about merit. And having the gumption enough to bring yourself up out of poverty, of the dumpster fire, of the underworld, that, you know what I'm saying? That you were always better than that. All right? Han, in his origin story in the EU, not that I like all of it, but he had a certain amount of decency in him. All right? He could go Clint Eastwood, man with no name on people in a heartbeat. But there were things that showed what kind of a person he was. Saving Chewbacca. Putting Dulana, the Wookiee that helped him, on a pedestal. Okay? trying to help his first girlfriend, Bria, escape slavery and addiction. Okay, that isn't the Han Solo they're talking about. They've created their own parents. They've created somebody that you know doesn't really make any sense. Just a second, I gotta blow my nose. They created something that it doesn't work in the bigger story of Star Wars. They created something that it doesn't make any sense in what George Lucas is trying to tell, the story George Lucas is trying to tell. And, you know, we've got to sit there and suffer this until, excuse me, guys. Hi, Kojak. Until it goes away. And it will go away. I mean, this. I'm sure Bob Chapek is going, why did they say this was a good idea? And they have to print it. It was, obviously, it's been in the pipeline for a long time, and they have to do it. The only thing I can say about the author of this shitty novel is I don't see any woke shit in her bio. All right, I don't see any SJW shit in her tweets. She just talks about her writing. That's it. I still think it's gonna suck. All right, might as well just do what they could have done. Han and Leia take the kids on an excursion on the fucking liner, and there you go. Okay, then you could have actually had the kids. But what I love about this is they're trying to appeal to adults. I'm sorry. I am not going on that fucking thing, and I could afford it. I can afford it. I could go. Why do I don't want to go? If I go on a vacation, I don't want to have someone telling me I have to be somewhere at this time. I don't want to have someone telling me I have to do something at this time. La-di-da, blase, blase. Okay? I don't. All right? I don't want it regimented. I don't want to feel like I'm at Parris Island boot camp. All right? I want to go with my friends, have a few cocktails at the bar, go eat dinner, maybe go to, get on the thing to go to Galaxy's Edge and run around. I don't want to be sitting at dinner and having Kyle Ron in his stolen Darth Revan costume show up. Because if I'm drunk, if I'm tipsy, I'll say something shitty to him. I don't want to see the 2x4 that talks. The people that can afford it don't want to go. They're OT fans. They want to go and have fun. They want to go and just kind of lose themselves in cosplay and stuff for a couple of days. That's it. That's what they want to do. They don't want to go be harassed by a bunch of Karens and then have something that doesn't make any sense to them and shits all over everything that they love about Star Wars. Show up while they're having dinner. Hi, buddy. Hi, Coach. You want to come up? Come here. Come here, bud. Come on. Come on. Come on. Up. He's right here. Can you see him? See his ears? He's a good boy. This is the Wookiee. This is the channel mascot. One of them. He's a very good boy. He's very soft too. Anyway, but no one wants to go to this, and the idea that they're trying to use an adult situation like a wedding and a honeymoon really just is laughable. I mean, they're trying to appeal to us. And it's like, yeah, but nothing. First off, the story is stupid. Okay, it's just stupid. Second of all, and I know Jon Favreau's laughing about this. I know he's just like going, When, oh, when did anybody think that this was a good idea? I know he is, and it's not going to get people to go. People will be mad, okay? People will be very angry with this. Anyway, but yeah, this is stuff we've got to talk about. This is stuff that I want you guys to hear and see and understand. We owe you the whole story. Okay, good, bad, or indifferent. All right. And the idea that none of these big channels brought it up is laughable to me. All right? You guys deserve better. You really, really do. And it's time that I'm going to tell you something. Like, I talked to Cameron yesterday on his Patreon. Shit is happening, and it's going to happen quicker than we thought. I thought, between 6 and 9 months. Now I think it's going to happen sooner. I think it may happen before Star Wars Celebration. All right. There's a reason for all this tittering going on in the shells and the story group. Okay? There's a reason. There's a reason why Pablo's on Twitter trying to pretend like he's always been a good guy. Okay? It's true. Because they know it's coming. And when we see it happen, it's going to catch a lot of people flat-footed. Okay. And you watch. The people I'm talking about will poo-poo it. Kennedy's leaving. Who cares? It's still Disney Star Wars. And you see, yeah, and he doesn't. And we all know that. I mean, one of these days, more of his private tweets will come out. Okay? In fact, if and when we get the official word that he's gone, you watch. You watch. He is going to be run through the coals by people who knew him. Okay? They eat their own. All right? They really, really do. I mean, but we've known for some time that there's been stuff going on in the background. Now we've got, oh my God, they're making a Rey trilogy. No, they're not. People who are smart are now basically saying that, well, the sequel trilogy is canon. You know what I say? First off, you're trying to get subscribers. So what you're doing, instead of telling your own subscribers the truth and putting this up there going, this doesn't make any sense. You don't talk to Cameron. You don't listen to Valiant Renegade. You don't listen to me, of course, because I'm the blind and I'm the crazy one, right? You don't. But you know what you do? In order to save subscribers you lost, you run to the bigger channels. And suddenly, you're getting more subs again. That's bullshit. That is disingenuous, and it's disappointing. Because I've seen it happen. Okay? I've seen it happen. All right? And it's disgusting. You owe your subscribers to be honest and real with them. Okay? You people don't even take the time to look on IMDb. You don't have IMDb Pro accounts. You don't listen to people who do. You don't listen to the people inside going, it is never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. Because it doesn't make sense financially. In through one ear, right around their heads, and go out the other. Because some idiot, maybe the ginger punk, probably told them, well, Disney's not going to redo the sequel trilogy. Who said they were going to redo the sequel trilogy? They're going to bypass it. All right? In the natural flow of the story. It'll be in an alternate timeline. They don't have to redo the sequel trilogy. You fucking morons. Okay? I'm done. I'm up to here with this, okay? You're not being honest with anybody. You're not being honest with yourselves, okay? That's the thing that pisses me off the most, all right? You know, if the Book of Boba Fett was woke, he was gay, trans woman, a trans woman, decided in his cloney kind of way that they really kind of screwed up and now he wanted to be a female. They could have done that. There was a rumor out there that he was going to take his mask off and be a chick. Okay, that was a rumor. All right, Fennec Shand could have been a trans woman, lesbian, etc., etc. We don't see anything like that in the story at all. Okay, it wasn't woke. That's what woke is. There was nothing tearing down Boba Fett either. Okay, I'm sorry. But seeing Boba Fett go from planet to planet killing people is kind of like Mandalorian. Alright? It's kind of like Mandalorian. That's why they didn't do it this way. And also, if you're a cinephile, know anything about movies, this story was inspired by a man called Horse, not Dances with Wolves. You fucking idiots. But you don't know anything about a man called Horse. Your knowledge of film goes up until the age of 5 for most of you. There you go. And then you sit there and act like you're superior or your ignorance. Well, I didn't know that. Then don't come and tell me, okay? Because you're just going to piss me off, okay? All right. Man Called Horse, Richard Harris, 1968, 54 years ago. It's about an English nobleman who goes out to the Great Plains to hunt buffalo, who gets captured by a band of Lakota Sioux, who is enslaved and tortured, who ends up becoming part of the tribe, including doing a sun dance, which was kind of like Boba Fett getting that lizard up his nose and then going to the tree. You know what a sun dance is? Big pole buried in the ground, up like 12 feet in the air, maybe higher, with leather straps, ropes coming off of it. Indian maidens, Indian girls, would cut bits of flesh off their arms to sacrifice to the sun god, Wakantanka. The braves would take those ropes and take a needle piece of bone from a buffalo, stick it into their chest right here, and it would be attached to the pole and lean back. But one brave would be hoisted up on that pole and hanging there like this. Richard Harris's character actually does that, okay, in the show. That's the story of Boba Fett going with the Tuskens. He tells Fennec Shand, when I came out of the Sarlacc, I wanted to go back to hunting. But after, paraphrasing, after spending time with the Tuskens, I realized I didn't want to do it anymore. That I'm sick and tired of working for other people who are just going to get me killed. That's a horrible idea. What an awful way to tell a story. Boba Fett should be a psychotic killer. Oh wait, that's Cad Bane. There was a meaty story here, but because everybody's got a shallow, stupid way of looking at this character, even I had a stupid way of looking at him for a long time. I can admit that. They missed it. Okay? They missed it. The train attack. That was Lawrence of Arabia. I bet you $1,000 you name the big YouTuber, they've never seen that movie. They probably couldn't sit through it because they'd actually have to sit and watch it. Not enough explosions and stupid shit going on. Thank you, Marvel. And people wonder why I get sick and tired of the lack of intellectualism in the YouTube community. All right? You owe your viewers a better product than you're giving them. Okay? This is why they're losing subscribers. People are sick and tired of it because what they say Boba Fett was isn't what it was. Okay, people can see it. This is why Fox News has grown up. This is why Newsmax is growing. Okay? Alternate sources. And the day Kennedy leaves, and it's coming quicker than we think. I really do believe that. The day she leaves, every one of you people, every one of you, is going to have to figure out how you're going to answer for that. How you're going to tell your viewers that A, you were wrong, you were caught flat-footed, and what does it mean? Okay? I can safely say the Book of Boba Fett wasn't that good, because it wasn't. It's honest. But I can also say that it wasn't what you people said it was. Okay? The internet has given a lot of people who aren't very bright, who aren't very well educated, a place. And they're terrified their narrative is going to go away. So as long as they can hold on to it, they feel successful. You know, meanwhile, they're misleading people. All right? They're too afraid to think of the alternative in this. And the alternative is she's done. And it's been obvious for a while now. All right? You're going to have to start listening to other people. And you're going to have to start accepting that. Okay? And you're going to have to start looking at the bigger channels, if you're a slightly bigger channel than mine, and say, well, you know, there's a lot out there saying that you're wrong, and I don't know if I want to follow this narrative anymore. All right, Valiant Renegade put up a video, conversation with him and Cameron about the very subject, about the Book of Boba Fett's ratings. I suggest you guys run over there and watch it, because that's where I'm going to go next. I'll see you guys around the galaxy. Behave, be safe. And if you're on Twitter, please mock the shit out of that book. Okay? For me, on Twitter, okay? I'll see you guys around the galaxy.